Good morning, Honorable House.
Good morning, Honorable Hala. How are you doing?
I'm good, my chief, and how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
We are busy here in Mthatha because of these floods.
It's terrible.
I thought I would see you this side.
Now, I was in KZN for the EFF youth rally.
Oh, okay. My sincere apologies, man, with the accident that happened.
Yeah, thanks. It hit us hard. It's very bad.
Yeah.
Thanks for the condolences. Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, thanks. But I'll be in Tata a little bit later this year for the EFF's anniversary rally. This year it's in Tata.
Oh, yes. We've never been this side, I understand.
Yeah, no, we'll be there in Tata this year.
Okay. Are you going to invite me?
You're welcome. I'd love to see you in a nice red EFF shirt. And
I'll come with ANC colors there.
Aye.
Will you allow me?
How do they say in the classics? No comment.
Hey.
We'll talk just now. Ne? I just
Shab,
need to do
my
something
brother.
beside quickly. Thanks.
Good morning, General Kondu.
His Excellency, no, Honorable Ala, kunjani Mthembu mkhulu.
Sibulela ukugcina mfondini hayi ezizantyala ngaseMthatha hey.
Hey. Mamela, do you realize at this time the National Defence Force was not there?
Good morning, General. How are you?
Fine yourself, man. Honorable in the House.
Honorable Hala has appointed himself to be the chair of the welcoming committee. but you are raising a serious issue, General. The South African Defence Force is nowhere in supporting our people in the Eastern Cape, and it's a disgrace.
It is a disgrace, guys. We can't run away from it. It is a disgrace.
Yeah. There's no support, no emergency assistance, no rescue, nothing. It is really sad.
And these people were only rescued by gift of the givers. If they were not there, it was going to be tough.
It's a sad situation. Anyhow, the meeting is starting, so let me mute and then we'll join the meeting.
Okay, guys.
Good morning, honorable members and guests in the platform. The chairperson is logging in, so he will join us shortly.
Thank you. I was just busy looking for the chair.
Thanks, Nandi.
Thanks, Nandi.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, Chair. Chair, you may start the meeting. It's 1 minute past 10.
Good morning.
Morning, Chair.
Good morning, honorable members.
Good morning, Chair.
Yes,
Good
Chair.
morning,
Good morning, Chair.
deputy ministers. Good morning to all the general present here, the acting SecDef. Good morning to our support staff present in the meeting. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you in the meeting. Actually, this is a follow-up meeting that comes on the same subject that we dealt with on the 25th of April, when we were dealing with the budget and the APP. But since that there was a court application against Parliament and Minister of Finance, we had to comply with the court order to ensure that we review and amend the budget. And I'm sure today we are going to deal with the amendments on the current budget and look specifically on the changes which were the result of what happened after the court order. So I don't expect a long presentation from the department so that we allow members to make follow-up questions, because before we could not ask questions as we're instructed that we can engage on the budget until Treasury has complied with the requirements of the court, which render the initial process null and void. But even though it's null and void, we know that there will be slight amendments, and that's what we want to focus on today, so that we don't repeat our work. So I would request that Nandipa, we flag our agenda. That is our agenda that is before us. Before we go to the adoption of the agenda, I would request that we deal with the apologies, if there are any. Nandipa?
Morning, Chair, members, everyone in the platform. There's an apology from the minister who's attending a cabinet meeting on ICT. And then there's also an apology from Ms. Nontenja, who has other commitments. And then there is a late arrival. Mr. General Olomisa will join the meeting late because he's currently in the cabinet meeting, which is scheduled to finish at 10:30. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Nandipa. I would request that as the Portfolio Committee of Defense, it must be placed on record that we are laying down our national flag on behalf of South Africans who lost their lives in the Mthatha region, Eastern Cape, as a result of the floods. That as a committee, we observe a moment of silence, just have a silent prayer on ourselves for 1 minute. We can start. May their souls rest in peace. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Souls rest in peace.
Thank you very much. Secretariat would request that we write a letter to the President of the Republic as the Commander-in-Chief, as the Portfolio Committee, requesting him that all national flag must fly half-mast in honor of the 90 lives of South Africans who lost their lives as a result of this tragedy, because it's a national tragedy. It can't be a problem of the people of Eastern Cape. Thank you very much. That is the agenda before us, members. The briefing by the DOD. Oh, no, we can leave the President. General Ramanswana is here, and the Department of Defense. Flags also belongs to you. You are well placed to can assist us in that regard. I see a hand. Is there anything from you, Carl?
Yes.
Honorable Niels?
Yes, I'm online. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I really raised my hand to propose adoption of the agenda, but also to again raise my concern about the absence of the Minister. Once again, the Minister is not with us. We need to deal with this issue, Chair. And I didn't hear that the Minister will join us after this cabinet meeting is finished, because apparently it's going to be finished by 10:30. I only heard that the Deputy Minister will join us. So I register my deep disappointment about the continuing absences of the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans in these meetings of ours. Otherwise, I move for the adoption of the agenda, Chair. And also, while we raised we maintained a moment of silence in acknowledging the loss of the people in the Eastern Cape, I think we should also express our deep concern about the absence of the South African National Defence Force, and specifically the South African Air Force, in providing assistance and rescue to the people of the Eastern Cape. This is a shame. Thank you, Chair. But I move for the adoption of the agenda, and I register my outrage at the absence of the Minister of Defence once again. It cannot be every week that she tells us that there is a cabinet meeting. This has to be sorted out. The Minister has a responsibility, especially on an important issue such as the budget, to be present in this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
And Honorable Khaitani, in that order.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, with understanding that the Minister is today acting president in the cabinet meeting, I will accept the apology and also move for the secondment of the agenda, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Blackish, Honorable Khaitani.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, before maybe we adopt the agenda, there's a matter that needs an urgent attendance. It's about the letter that is being issued by the Minister of Defence disbanding SANVA. And that matter, it needs an urgent attendance, really, because now it's bad. It's bad what the Minister did. The Minister cannot really disband SANVA without attending the problems of SANVA. I think we have to discuss this. We have really, I don't know when, but it's a matter of agents. It's a matter of agents. That's my take, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Khaitani. You are bringing a motion. It can only be discussed in the other meeting. For today, We'll deal with the business of the day. Can the Secretariat advise us when is the DMV coming for their annual plan so that we can also get this report on the disbandment of the SANVA?
Chair, I think it's next week.
Next week. Yeah, I would request,
Honorable.
I would request that we combine the DMV annual report with the disbandment so that we also get a briefing from the department in terms of what led to the disbandment and what is the situation, because I've not went through the constitution of the DMV. I'm afraid to comment on any constitutionality or non-constitutionality of the matter. So I would request that the parliamentary liaison officers are here, the deputy minister is here, the generals are here, the acting SecDef will be properly briefed to brief us next week in terms of what is happening on the issue of the Department of Military Veterans, especially the SANVA case. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
It's not next. It's on that other week, the 2nd of July. They will be briefing the committee on the 2nd of July.
On the 2nd of July, okay.
Yes.
No, it's okay. The staff members, the liaison officers are here. Can they go back to their principals for their principals to prepare an answer for us on the 2nd of July so that we don't start afresh?
Chair,
Yes,
I don't want this to be debated, but while we're raising the issue of SANVA, remember in the previous meeting, I've also raised the issue of the serious crisis that there is with regards to the database of the Department of Military Veterans and the Military Veterans Database Verification Committee, and an outrage that they are from military veterans about how they get treated. I would request that in addition to the SANVA matter, which I agree with the Honorable Rupana that it is urgent, we also deal with that matter, which is also critical and urgent, in that meeting of the 2nd of July.
Okay, no, the point is noted. When the department go and assist us, I know General Mashwala and the panel are not recognizing anybody from internal units as having been an ex-combatant. I'm also interested to hear what is the take, because so far, I'm telling you, the process is going to be flawed and be taken to court if we continue the way we do. But it's okay. The agenda is adopted. Can we allow the Department of Defense?
Chair, my hand is up. I want to suggest something. Yes, Chair, I would like to suggest even the committee, yes, SANVA, it must be called that the same day. I think it's time
Point
now.
of order, Chair.
Yeah. Look, there's a point of order, Honorable Ala.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, not undermining the points raised by the honorable members, but let's just stick to the agenda of the day, not to entertain other issues that are being raised. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hala. I take that members understand that we have dealt with the agenda. We will now proceed with the agenda. Matters related to military veterans, we are told that we are meeting them on the 2nd of July. I would request that we put them for the 2nd of July. But I would also request the liaison officers from ministerial and executive offices to take points raised by members and bring answers on that day. We just need to get answers, even if it can be written answers on the members of the committee related to this particular matter, so that we don't start afresh on the 2nd of July. Because every time we speak in meeting, but our license officers are not reporting to their principals, and we always start afresh. I would request that you also do your job, come to the party and smell the coffee, so that we reduce the level of either conflict or questioning by members to the executive, when actually the executive has representation in every meeting, but that representation is not also helping the committee, including their principals. I would request that we do that particular point. I see there's a hand of Honorable Shelembe.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chairperson. I was just checking because if we look, I mean, even in the meeting of the 2nd of July, we cannot guarantee that the Minister of Defense will be there. I was checking that. What if you, as a chairperson, say you write on behalf of this committee to the minister, ask a reason in writing why, I mean, she has taken a decision to dissolve that Military Veterans Association, because it's not a big issue. It's just to tell us if we are not happy with the reasons, then we can put this as an item with question. But I mean, just asking that the minister must come to the meeting and put in the agenda to discuss it. I'm worried if, I mean, anything may happen. Like today, the minister is not on her purpose to be absent, but because of, I mean, unforeseen circumstances. But to make it easier for members to know why it has been disbanded, I think maybe on behalf of the committee, then on the next meeting, even if the minister is not available, let's see the response from the minister. I don't think it can be just that the minister may decide to disband it. Maybe there is a reason behind it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shelembe, for the progressive proposal. The Secretariat will write that letter so that we make the answer public to all the members and knowledgeable to all the members. Written response from the minister will do that immediately after the meeting, so that by the 2nd of July, we can make a follow-up if we are not happy on any matter related to a response. Thank you very much, Honorable Shelembe. Honorable Chief Whip.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me greet you. Let me greet the honorable members of the committee. And let me greet the deputy ministers that are here on the platform, together with the officials and the generals that are here. No, I'm not disputing what you are saying, but Chairperson, if we want to respect the decorum of this committee and all the procedures, because you can see that after your remarks, opening remarks in this committee, I don't know whether there is an area that say, let us interact with the remarks. You'll find that people, they will discuss issues. I can see that we want to prolong it now. I wanted to support Honorable Allah to say that let us stick to the agenda of the meeting today, because there are processes and procedures for issues to be discussed here in this committee. Please, Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you very much, Whip. I think your point is noted. There's nothing much that I can do except that you, as the Whip, reign on your members, including their conduct, including having one-on-one with them. But for me, when I chair, I'm sometimes limited to can whip on members. So I'm happy that you are coming in, but I would request that you, on your own, you make a follow-up with individual members and all of us as a collective, so that we can just go back to meeting procedures and processes of how we deal with things. But at the same time, from our side, I can't limit members from asking questions, and I'm sure those questions, we will have to answer them. And I agree that next time, let's stick to the agenda. If there are any issues or motions we want to bring, we'll allow members to do so, but let's allow the agenda to proceed. For now, I will allow the department to brief us on slight amendments, because we are not meeting for the first time. We met in April, then there was a court action, then we had to comply with the court order. We're coming back. We know you can present where there are slight changes so that we allow members to ask, because we had the document before. Maybe there might be slight amendment after the court decided otherwise. So we have to stick to what the court has given us as directives, so that we look at those amendments. Over to you, the department. Deputy Minister, is the Deputy Minister in? Is the Deputy Minister in?
We are here.
Yeah, I'll give over to you, Deputy Minister, to introduce the department, because in our portfolio committee of the Defense and Military Veterans, the staff is not really our responsibility. It's your responsibility as the executive. I'll then give over to you to introduce your team.
You know, for now, it's difficult because I've just come in. I was in another meeting. I've just joined, and I don't know who's here. But the other deputy minister came first. Is he here?
Okay.
General, I think is here.
Thank you, sir. Chairperson and honorable members and my colleague, I confirm that the department is represented here. Can they go ahead and make a presentation so that we save time? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Major General, retired. Over to you, the department.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the Deputy Ministers and on the platform, and greetings also to the members of the Portfolio Committee. Yes, Chair, this is retabled.
Chair, can you please ask the Deputy Minister Mkongo to mute?
Thank you.
Please ask Deputy Minister Mkongo to mute. Thank you.
Honorable Mkongo, can you mute? You are disrupting the meeting. You can proceed, Acting Secretary. Over to you.
Thank you very much again. Members, I was saying we discussed this APP in April. So as per your guidance, Chair, the most important slides are from slide 1 up to 12. That's where we have made changes or amendments in line with the final letter of allocation. So we will show you what was indicated before and what we are getting now, and just briefly the impact of the reduction in some areas. I will ask Mr. Michael Cox. I'm sitting to take us through, but I'm sitting also with the acting CFO and with the Chief Director of Strategic Management. And on the platform there, I have General Kundu, who is responsible or work with us in the planning environment. Mr. Cox, through you, Chair. Mr. Cox is the Director Strategy and Plan. Mr. Cox?
Honourable Chair, Deputy Ministers and Committee members, thank you very much. As directed by the Acting Executive, we have consolidated the adjustments into the first 11 slides, and Chair will take the committee through the first 11 slides. Chair, as you've mentioned, we did present, and as the Executive has mentioned, we did present in April, and we will now present again the adjusted strategic plan and the annual performance plan. Chair, the scope will deal with the adjustments to the SP, the APP, and we will look at the budget allocation, the revised allocation, and then we will then look at our indicators and targets where they were impacted. Chair, the first adjustment that we have is on slide number 4, and this is related to a performance indicator that we have in the third column, which is related to the SANDF Long-Term Capability Development Plan, otherwise known as the Journey to Greatness. It has multiple deliverables within that plan, but in the medium-term development plan, we are specifically focusing on the percentage implementation of the DoD Border Safeguarding Optimization Plan. On the right-hand side, Chair, in red, Our 5-year target was adjusted. Originally, it was indicated as to be confirmed, but aligned to the MTDP, which has an end-term target of 100%. Our plans have been adjusted to reflect that our end-term target will indeed be 100% in terms of border safeguarding optimization plan. Chair, it must just be noted that this function has been executed previously within the SANDF, within the 15 sub-units, but we have now formally included this indicator into the MTDP and into our planning instruments. Chair, when we break down the border safeguarding at the bottom left-hand corner of the slide, we now reflect on the annual targets. Chair, you will see in the red part, the 25-26, that's the in-year plan, and 26-7, 27-8, this takes us to the mid-term. And Chair, by the mid-term, we want to achieve 50% of the border safeguarding plan. The original target we had was 100, but it was slightly disaligned to the MTDP, which said we should be at 50%. So our plans have been adjusted in terms of the border plan and in terms of our target setting as well. Chair, in terms of slide number 6, the next adjustment that we have made, you'll see in the red column under 25-26, we have amended the targets they read originally in terms of the cyber strategy, the green one on the third column, and in terms of the cyber implementation action status. Our original target said develop and approve, and we were advised by the AGSA that we should just have them as approved to ensure that accurate reporting can be done. Those amendments were made. Chair, you'll see in column for the financial year 21-22 all the way to 24-25 that it's indicated that these are new performance indicators. And they are new, Chair, in terms of the sense of the function was being executed, but aligned to the MTDP, where the department has a role to play in terms of cyber defense. We have now formalized to expedite the approval of the strategy for cyber and the implementation status plan as well. So we have formalized those indicators, Chair, and we have adjusted our targets to no longer draft, develop and approved, just to approved. Chair, then we move to our budget allocation, and specifically these are the heading, the 2025 earmarked funding allocations. Chair, the black text is the current figures after the allocation, and in brackets are the red numbers or figures that were part of the original allocation. Chair, you'll see that the first bullet in our earmarked funding is for our troop deployment and the phase withdrawal from our DRC. And these are the figures. It's a once-off figure for the 25-26 cycle, and it does not continue into the MTEF. The second bullet, Chair, we have conditions of service. We have a slight adjustment. The figures are outlined in the slide. In terms of our support to the local elections, the third bullet, we have funding in the 26-27 cycle of 150 million. In terms of the fourth bullet, the Deputy Minister's Office, our figures did not change in terms of the new budget allocation. And then in terms of number 4, it's the macro organizational structuring where 13 members of the DPME were migrated to the department. There was one omission, Chair, which we've corrected under the column 27-28. We incorrectly indicated 12 million, but the correct figure is indeed 24 million for the 27-28 cycle. Chair, those are the adjustments and the areas where there were no adjustments in the revised budget allocation. Chair, this slide 8 just gives a distribution within the department on the top left-hand side across the 8 programs of defense. I won't go into that detail, Chair. I think it's self-explanatory. The bottom of the slide indicates the distribution of our budget across compensation of employees, which is extremely high, versus goods and services, transfer payment, and then our subsidies, of our capital payments. Here, the block at the top right-hand side just indicates our full cost of 57 billion. And Chair, that is the target, that's the amount of money that has informed the development of this plan and the performance indicators and targets. Chair, if we move to the COE and related costs that are on slide number 9. Chair, we give a reflection once again that the red for the preliminary or the previous allocation and all the black are the current allocation. Chair, I think it's worth noting that our COE shortfall, that is serial number 1, has now increased to 3.1 billion in the 26 cycle to 3.9, and in the 27 cycle, it has increased to 4.29. And Chair, this is a result of the increase in the reserve force mandates, amongst others, and also the increase in our MSDSs and the costs associated thereto. Chair, that is COE. If we move on to slide number 10. Chair, this is just indicating the shortfall within the different programs. The red again being the previous shortfall per program, and the black showing our new shortfalls. So Chair, you will see in some instances the shortfalls have reduced, in others it has increased. And this is the result of the increased budget allocation in terms of COE. Chair, those were the amendments that we have made to the strategic and the annual performance plan. And the rest of the presentation is what we presented to the Portfolio Committee on the 23rd of April, 2025. Chair, with your permission, I'll hand over to the SecDef, because that may then conclude our presentation.
No problem. Over to you, SecDef.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm sorry, I'm coming down with a flu. We will take questions, Chair.
Thank you very much, SecDef. Can we allow honorable members to raise questions to the departmental budget and the APPs for the coming financial year and the medium-term expenditure? There's a hand of Honorable Neerhouse, Honorable Hatton. We'll follow that particular order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and let us thank the South African National Defence Force for this short presentation that they've given us about the adjustments that have been made after the initial budget was declared illegal by the courts, and therefore we were not able to discuss the initial presentation. Chair, I must in general express my concern about the situation that we continue to be met with. Because if we look at this budget and the breakdown of it, we are now having a budget of available 57.184 billion for the period of 2025-2026, which is a real increase that is rather slight. But when we evaluate that increase in terms of inflation, we actually find out that there is a real decrease of 1.6% in this budget. Now, Chair, we haven't gone through all the slides that make up this full presentation, but we did so in the previous presentation that we received, and it indicated massive shortfalls in all the areas of functioning of the South African National Defence Force. The crisis that we are faced with now is that the budget that we have is a decrease on the budget of the previous financial year in real terms. And therefore, we are faced with the crisis that the various functions of the South African National Defence Force will not be adequately funded. And that we must come to the conclusion that the functioning of the South African National Defence Force will simply continue to decrease, and we will continue to have the current spiral of decline, which, as I've warned before, is really bringing us to the point of total collapse of the South African National Defence Force. Now, we've been given many promises about a strategical document that we should be able to analyze and dissect in order to understand how this crisis is going to be addressed. And in this morning's presentation, once again, there was a reference to the road of greatness or road to greatness, and even allocations that relate to that. But we, as a portfolio committee on defense and military veterans, do not have that document. We are unable to make an assessment on whether that document is going to take us out of this awful crisis that I've just described for you. We were confronted in a previous meeting by the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, who came to our committee not even announcing to us in advance that the Road to Greatness document was not going to be presented, telling us that this document still needs to be dealt with by some security committees, and et cetera, within the presidency. So we are being asked to look at these adjustments of the budget in the same way that we were asked to look at the original presentation that was given us without a compass, in the dark. And I therefore want to register my outrage, Chair, that we are being placed in a totally unenviable position. I cannot analyze this budget problem. I cannot understand how we are going to get out of the problems that we are faced with, because the department is unable to provide us with a roadmap, which they say they've presented to the presidency, but they've not shown it to us, and they tell us that it is an indefinite delay before we will receive it. This is the crisis of the SANDF. No plan, lack of money, and a lot of corruption. I can come up today with detailed proposals from the side of the economic freedom fighters on how we want to deal with the budget. I can come up today with raising issues around the fact that we really need a minimum of 1.5% of GDP to go to the budget, and I can also raise my outrage that despite the fact that we have been told by the Deputy Minister of Defense, Major General Bantu Lemisa, retired, that the President had made a commitment to that effect, that evidently the Minister of Finance did not consider that commitment of the President worth anything. But that is not the purpose of this meeting. The purpose of this meeting is for us to interrogate this proposal in terms of the budget and the adjustments as we received it, and to be able to have an understanding of what the department intends to do and what proposals they've made to the President. We are being prevented from analyzing this budget in that context, and therefore this exercise is an exercise in futility. I will proceed to make my proposals for the budget not in this committee under these circumstances. Because it is an exercise in futility, I repeat again, to do it under these circumstances here. I will do so in the debate in the National Assembly, and I will do so in terms of the proposals of the EFF, where we will tell the public what we think needs to be done in various public communications. But I conclude to say to you that this presentation is entirely useless to us without the road to greatness and the compass on how to deal with these issues. And I express my outrage that we continue to be treated in this manner, and that our nation continues to be subjected to this kind of maladministration, to this kind of lack of vision, and to the fact that what we have been presented today once again with the decreases in allocation, not increases, decreases, that we are presented once again with a fait accompli that under the circumstances, the SANDF will not be able to pull itself together, and that we are now not on the road to greatness, but we are on the road, firmly so and tragically so, to the total collapse of the SANDF. And I conclude, Chair, by saying the consequences of this disaster was evident in the last couple of days when the South African National Defence Force, as I said earlier, was entirely absent in any rescue operations during the tragedy that unfolded in the Eastern Cape with the very severe flooding. This is what the SANDF had become, a failure, incapable to come to the rescue of our people under situations of emergencies, and incapable of defending the national sovereignty and integrity of our nation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Niehaus. Honorable Lahate, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we are again in the same situation as I think this committee was in the previous years. So, with a budget shortfall, and I think we need to perhaps get more detail on the strategic impact on the shortfall. It appears that there's a shortfall roundabout of 41 billion, which is a 42% gap between the budget allocation and the estimated need. Now, obviously, it cannot be business as usual. We cannot do everything. The Department of Defense cannot do everything that they want to do. There are sacrifices to be made. So my question is, first question, what specific operational capabilities will be deferred or downsized or abandoned in this financial year? My second question, and obviously this should be built on the defense review or the reassessed defense review, would be the department indicated that there are key chapters of the 2015 defense review that are being reassessed, and in fact were submitted to the executive authority around about, I think, almost 2 years ago, somewhere in 2024. Now, what is the status of these revisions? And when will Parliament be briefed on the impact on force design, on our procurement, and obviously extrapolated from that also on the defense industry? The defense review should have been the guidelines for our budget and for implementation, for force design, for everything that we are doing. But we know that we don't achieve those milestones. Based on this, then, it comes down to prioritization. How is the department prioritizing its core missions within the constrained allocation? Specifically, which capabilities or operations or whatever support are receiving priority, and then consequently, which are being sacrificed? This is the reality that we're working with. Obviously, we understand right at this moment that we are heading for a more or repeat Auditor General's findings on the expenditure of the department, which obviously irregular expenditure and unauthorized expenditure will again be highlighted in the Auditor General's report. And then I've got a specific question about the troop deployment and the repatriation of our troops from the DRC. We sit with a budget of 3.043 billion. It's a massive amount of money. Can we please get a breakdown of that 3 billion into its major components? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ate. Honorable Mabel Khotladi, followed by Honorable Tokozile Sokanyile. In that order.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I have some few questions to ask pertaining the presentation that you have just received. What I want to know, how does the minister justify the ongoing underperformance in consequence management when audit qualifications, irregular expenditure, and unresolved supply chain issue persists, despite previous portfolio committee recommendations? Second question, what steps are being taken to implement a realistic and resourced version of the Defense Review 2015, given that funding levels remain far below the endorsed 1.8% of GDP target and currently sit at 0.70%? Third question, why has the department failed to fully implement its border safeguarding optimization plan? And what accountability mechanism exists for its ineffective interdepartmental coordination with SAPS, Home Affairs, and the Border Management Authority? My fourth question, in light of ICT system, what measurable progress has been made on the DoD enterprise architecture and digital transformation plan to meet audit compliance and secure military communications? 5, what are the consequences for the persistent failure to meet the 30-day payment deadline for suppliers, a recurring violation contributing to the department audit, regression and damaging small defense contractors? 6, how does the department intend to sustain external deployment of TIBA Ops Mistral when critical stock levels, combat readiness, and equipment modernization remain compromised by severe budget constraints? 7, why is the little evidence of functional consequence management framework within the military, police, and HR structures, especially in light of internal disciplinary failures and poor human resources rejuvenation strategies? 8, what measurable outcomes has the department achieved regarding its commitment to gender equity and the inclusion of youth and persons with disabilities beyond policy statements? 9, can the minister account for the long-standing delays in the approval and rollout of the defense capstone and military capstone concepts, which are critical to reshaping strategic posture under current geographical threats? Lastly, Chair, why has the department not fully operationalized the production brigade concept or revitalized the defense industry as recommended in Chapter 15 of the Defense Review? Honorable Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Khwekane, retired colonel. I'll now give over to the whip.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, maybe let's just thank the department for giving us this report. But Chairperson, I want to raise it even now, because in April, we said so that this is not the correct picture for the department, for this department, especially defense allocation and the budget, having that huge shortfall of 41 billion, whereby looking at the changes that have been done with what was presented before, there is smaller changes, not even that you can write something about them, because this department has been underfunded. Then also looking at the issues that have been raised by the department here, their priorities, to me, it gives me goosebumps, because if we can't rejuvenate the defense force that is there, put some money allocated for it, then to me, we're still going to sit and fold our arms and not do anything. And that's a threat. That's a threat to the country. For instance, if we're going to look at the implementation of the cyber defense strategy, you cannot even come up with a timeline of implementing it and then establishing a fully functional cyber command for the border safeguarding, because it will assist in the border safeguarding and other defense capabilities. But we cannot say anything, because the money that is allocated there doesn't mean anything. To me, I'm not happy. I don't know what the department will tell us. What are we going to oversight as this portfolio committee, having that huge shortfall? And then also, if we are going to look at its employment equity, in fact, it's quiet. And that cost of employees, you can see that it will be few people who will go, but it won't be implemented. And yet, when we're given the report in April, there were discussions that were being taken with the department together with National Treasury. It means that we didn't get anything. We'll be getting those reports to say that we are still engaging National Treasury. To me, this is even worse, having these huge deficits within the department. I think, Chairperson, we need to raise that. I don't know, who must we call if the department cannot come up with another strategy in addressing the issues that we have been raising? To me, really, our defense of the country now, it's at a threat because having this fewer budget. So I'm raising that, Chairperson. I'm not tapping. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. I think points raised by members, the department is noting them so that we can answer members. At least today, we have time to ask questions. Mine is on the, you see, when we left in April, we asked specific questions to the department. The establishment of the cybersecurity unit within the defense intelligence and the cost of it when we left each other in April. So that's what part of what we've been saying. We have also raised the point that our defense force is combat ready for the Second World War and not for the Third World War. In the Third World War, we are using artificial intelligence, we are using electronic warfare, we have modernized equipment of the Second World War to be in tandem with the current challenges. Now, I would want to understand from the presidential directive of December 2024, which said we'll move from 0.7% to 1.5%, what happened to it in your engagement with Treasury on the current budget allocation? What happened? We engaged Treasury. Treasury requested us to work on 40, 30, 40. What was it? 40, 30, 30 of the budget allocation. 40% to staff, 30 to goods, and another 30 to capital equipment. And with what we are bringing now, there's no indication of a possibility, just even on cost of employees being reduced from 64%. I see, according to MTF, it will increase up to 70%. But there's nowhere in that increase where we talk of force rejuvenation or getting new blood in terms of our budget strategy informed by our HR strategy. So it means the age of our defense force, like we said, it was 45, 47 years. It's now going to increase to 55 years of some of our ordinary troops in the National Defense Force. So we're not saying people must be pushed out, people must be dismissed. No. We're just saying people must be phased out through a proper strategy, exit strategy, which can also make it possible for them to live beyond their years in the National Defense Force. And our budget is not informing us of that 40, 30, 30 allocation. We're still at 64% instead of 40% of the cost of employees. We're at 1.4% of capital prime mission equipment instead of 30%. So it means we're not combat ready for any war if we're to be attacked, like the case in Tehran and Tel Aviv. I'm not sure. It now comes to a point where my consciousness is fighting my conviction. I can't allow wrong things to happen under my watch. And that's what is happening here. It's like I'm betraying my country in terms of its national security by allowing such things as a portfolio committee to continue unabated, because it's now creating a serious security threat, like the Chief Whip is saying, but it's also created an impression of security lapse, because you can have 1.4% when the global trend is 30%. You can have 0.7% to the GDP when the global trend is 2%. After the attack by Tehran, European countries last week Thursday increased their GDP to from 3% to 5%, the whole of Europe, as a EU decision. So I don't understand why are we left behind, or what is our understanding of national security, because it comes even to question our credibility in terms of our understanding of our functions as this department, including our mandate from the Constitution, which gives us the authority to protect the Republic, its people, guard the territorial integrity and the sovereignty, respect the Constitution and international law. I mean, like Honorable Neaus was raising, during the floods in Mozambique, our defense force was doing wonders there. During our work in DRC, we're doing wonders. But in our own backyard in Tata, in Eastern Cape, we were left with an egg on our face. I'm not sure what are we going to say to the optics or questions from the public if we are to be asked, where was the National Defense Force when this tragedy was occurring, when they are responsible for territorial integrity, because this happened within our territory. So with such a budget, I'm not sure what is the future of our national budget as a department in terms of any emergency related to disaster, any emergency related to future pandemic, with a budget which there is a shortfall of over 40%. I mean, we can approve the budget, but we have to put serious reservation as this portfolio committee, so that if the disaster comes, we should not be blamed. I know our country took the matter of load shedding simple. We were warned about load shedding by even NGOs and everybody over 20 years back, to build new plants, to build and improve capability of our electrical distribution. Everybody took for granted until we got into a situation of a load shedding which ate over R500 billion of our economic fortunes. And some of the crises we have today are from the result of not listening. The same is said now today about the state of our National Defense Force, that good people, were about to reach a point of a collapse. We are knocking on the door of a collapse as this particular National Defense Force. And as the portfolio committee, as the chair, I must raise it here that we will not allow a situation or a repeat of what we did with ESCOM and our electricity provision capability of the country. We are not going to do it with the National Defense Force, but because in our case, unlike ESCOM, it's treasonous. As a committee, we can be arrested for collapsing the National Defense Force. And that's the understanding you must understand, all of you, including sec devs, generals, ministers, and everybody. We are knocking on the door of jail. In our case, unlike ESCOM, we can't go into a commission of inquiry. We must go straight to jail for having failed the National Defense Force. So I will give over to the department to answer to questions that's raised by ministers, also to tell us what are you planning as all TGs, what are you planning as all your relations with Treasury, what are you doing to help us to get out of this thing? Because in our case, unlike the Portfolio Committee of Public Enterprise at that time, they had the chance as civilians. But in our case, it's treason. If the National Defense Force or the territorial integrity of the country was to be compromised, it's a jail term, I'm afraid. Thank you. Over to you, the department.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and members once again. We have said, I know it sounds like a broken record for us, but I must just indicate again that we did make a presentation of these documents that were submitted to the presidency. We discussed them, and there was a way forward with the DGs, mostly of the security cluster, and there is support. However, the 1.5% of the GDP will become part of the discussions. And in those documents, we are also again, what is the right word? We are also proposing a certain percentage of government spending so that the SNDF is able to plan and execute the mission steadily. It's important to know, as members know, that the plans are long-term, and therefore we need to know what is the percentage of the government spending that we are going to be getting, including the 1.5% of the GDP. That is in those documents. So the direction that members are talking about is very clear in these documents that we submitted. And then the member Kwekane also raised issues about consequence management. Members should also, again, as we have explained before, the matters that are before the military court, from our side, once it's before the military court, you wait until the matter is processed. However, on the civilian side, because we use different dispensation, it's easier to process internally those matters that require to be processed internally. And obviously, there are matters that are still either with the public protector, or some of them are with the Hawks, because they include the serious crimes that should go before court. But we are doing something, and then there are also issues of that we have challenges of boards of inquiries that are also taking a longer sometimes than they should. But I will ask on the matters of specific capabilities that are impacted. That is the questions asked by Honorable Harding. The issue of the capabilities that are impacted and those that we are prioritizing. All those matters, I will request General Kundu on the platform to talk on the matters of operations, including the border optimization. Thank you. Then the CFO will talk on the monies that we got and our discussions with National Treasury, because we do have discussions with National Treasury members. On issues of equity and HR matters, I have General Ulofse, who is responsible for HR planning in the department. And some are comments like we do accept that there are shortfalls, and therefore our minister has asked us to go as well as prioritize and look at areas where we can cut and then make proposals to her. So we are still busy as well with that exercise, Chair. So if you allow me, Chair, there is also an issue of 11 billion that is used to that National Treasury has set aside for the exit of members. We also have been invited to participate in the using that allocated money by National Treasury to exit our members. Obviously, it might not be enough to rejuvenate the Defence Force. We did make presentations to National Treasury about the monies that we require in order to rejuvenate. I'll ask General Kundu to speak on the operational part and the capabilities. General Kundu, through you, Chair.
Thank you, Acting Secretary and Honorable Chair and members of the committee. There are just few questions that I have noted. Some I may have missed. I think the chairperson will take the liberty to remind me if I've missed some. But the first one is about the establishment or a question about the Cyber Defense Command Center or Cyber Center, as it were. We will recall that within the planning instrument, the strategic plan, as well as the APP, mention has been made of the Cyber Command Center. There's even a performance indicator to that effect, but maybe it will help alleviate the anxiety that members of the committee has about the cyber defense capability. The cyber defense capability of the DoD is firstly not a capability meant to man a cyber defense capability for the department per se. The mandate given by the National Cyber Framework is that we do this, yes, for the DoD, but also for the country. In other words, we man both the defense and the offensive capability if that will be required in the future. We have got to remind ourselves that the Department of Defense and the SANDF have got a defensive strategic posture in its national security outlook. The Defense Intelligence, where this is housed, has got a plan. But the plan has got a lot of institutional shortfalls. You will agree that we did present, and the information was conveyed to Parliament, that Defense Intelligence, what they immediately did is to understand that we need a certain skill set to man the cyber defense of the country. They registered a qualification, a degree with the military academy. And that the first output is already out for last year. I think it's a little bit of more than 10 or 15 people that have been qualified on that degree. But then, because there is no funding, then we must understand that within the plan, or for the plan to be then implemented, there should be a structure, and structure informed by processes and certain defined outputs. The structure is there, but the structure cannot be implemented without funding. The risk is we have got an output in terms of qualified people on cyber defense from Stellenbosch University or Military Academy, who are then or who have come to a structure that is empty. What it means is they cannot be staffed in the structure, they cannot be paid appropriately or in accordance with the skills that they have. The risk is 2 or 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, if we are lucky, these young men and women will be pushed by the rest of the public sector and the private sector, even within the Republic of South Africa, because we cannot do anything. And the other element that is important about cyber defense is that Defense Intelligence know very well what equipment, what software to source. And all of those things, they need money, and money is not there. If we have got equipment that you need to source, softwares, and then what it means is you've got to link up and interface with industries that are relevant in the ICT and cyberspace. So you need money to have those contracts. You need money to establish an R&D capability with universities, with research institutions like your CSIR. All of those things are standing still now because of the absence of the funds. I think the Portfolio Committee must also note that we need a situation in government where we consider government as a system. In other words, as a set of related concepts or systems. The guideline or guidance that is given by one component, we must understand the effect on the other. An example, the guideline that we've been given by National Treasury and DPSA is that downward manage the HR baseline of the SANDF or of the DOD. And yet we need more people to man the structure of the Cyber Command Center and other structures that are demanded by the national security landscape. And I hope, having said that, it settles where we are in terms of cyber defense. Work is continuing. We need to establish the Cyber Command Center, but it must be guided by the strategy which is under development. The second one, I think, or the rest of the questions are questions that are related to the financial muscle or budget that the DoD is supposed to have and does not have, and the plans that it has but cannot implement due to the lack of funding. I just wanted to tie up with what the chairperson of the portfolio committee has said. And indeed, let me just make an example. Because of the security, the global security outlook, all the European countries have then increased their spending on defense to 17% collectively. And that translates to about $860 billion in support of Ukraine against the Russian Federation. That is their response. The effect of that war, there's no country in the world that can claim that it is not affected. It is affecting us. But the extent to which we understand that and become ready for a portion of the security situation as it will manifest or may manifest in the Republic of South Africa is something else that we must really make up our mind, consider. But fortunately, the DoD has got a set of solutions at policy level, at strategy level, and at long-term planning level. I will always impress that we need a closed session where we can discuss these issues as South Africans and confront our worst fears. And collectively, we arrived at a solution. The United Kingdom, for instance, just this year, in March this year, they have promulgated their own strategy called Strategic Defense Review 2025. In the Strategic Defense Review 2025, the Prime Minister, that means at the helm of the UK government, has made an undertaking that they are going to increase defense spending to 2.5% and accelerate it by financial year 27-28 to 3%. Just that's the UK. Germany has also done the same beginning of this year, and they say they are going to move up to 2.5% and accelerate, and they have not given themselves a ceiling. The People's Republic of China, the same thing. Japan is the same thing. France is the same thing, and so on. So those are global trends in response to the security situation as they see themselves. In the case of South Africa, the president of the country has pronounced that 1.5% at least. And he further said up to 2%. Now, within how government works, that must permeate down up until National Treasury or the Ministry of Finance. Let me say the Cabinet Collective to come up with this. And engagement with the Cabinet Collective or the executive is a responsibility of both the department as well as the portfolio committee to ramp up that pressure and create that strategic context and understanding so that at the end of the day we have this. And maybe on the border safeguarding optimization plan, the production brigade and so on, can I just note and save time and say, in the Journey to Greatness plan, these are chapters. These are subjects that to which specific attention has been given. We are very clear in terms of what we want to do on the production brigade, to create self-sufficiency within the Department of Defense, to interface in a structured way with defense industry. We are very clear in terms of border safeguarding optimization plan. We have made the correct assumptions that in terms of, for instance, in terms of the border infrastructure, the other state departments would have done what they are supposed to do. The Department of Defense and the SANDF would have to start from sensing, in other words, situational awareness. It will have to be able to react promptly through mobility packages. It will have to talk on issues of border infrastructure. It will have to bring in military sustainment or support to deployed forces in the border areas. That we can discuss in a closed forum. And I think after we've discussed in a closed forum, then we can then assist each other to obtain the necessary funding. The breakdown of the 3 billion within the manner in which the Department of Defense works. We have got a departmental planning, budgeting, and evaluation committee, where we will then see what is it that we can do with the resources that we can have. What are the priorities above priorities or prioritized priorities? And which programs must then prioritize and so on. And this is what we will be doing very shortly. So we have got a 30-year plan, the Journey to Greatness. Within the Journey to Greatness, we then have thinned it down to a 5-year plan. Then the planning instruments come in, we've got a 3-year plan. Within the 3-year plan, given the resources that we have, we then must prioritize which one do we do. But in terms of making the decision and the call that these are the capabilities that we do not want, I think as of when we discuss the review of the defense review, the military strategy and the Journey to Greatness, that strategic argument, the Department of Defense and the SANDF will be able to make. Because the department has looked at the global security environment, at the continental, regional, and national security environment, and understands very well the implications to the Republic of South Africa. And those implications are not the choice that the Department of Defense and even the RSA have. It's issues that we have got to do. I think it's for the first time that a national disaster, the proportions at which you lose about 90 people in Amtata and the Department of Defense and the SANDF is not there. And I think we should all be concerned. But we know for a fact the state of the SANDF tells us about the readiness of our platforms and our capabilities that would have brought to bear in that particular environment. By the way, disaster management or disaster aid and relief is a specific chapter together with a rapid deployment capability. When these disasters occur, they do not have that much warning. As a result, you need to react quickly. Hence, we say a rapid deployment capability. It has got all the specifications, how it must operate within South Africa, how it must operate within the region. Those are specific chapters that we have. I think I have, to a fair extent, covered almost all the questions, or there's just but one. No, two. The first one is sustainment of external deployments in the face of what we are facing. And my proposed answer is that the utilization of the military resources of the Republic of South Africa is a preserve of the President of the country as well as Parliament. So we will be, and that is regulated by the Constitution, we will be told when to get involved in external deployments. And that will be the basis of engagement with the SANDF. So the legislative authority will be first to know before we know. But then between now and then, we are making, the department is hard at work for the principals in the executive and legislative authorities to then understand the dire situation that the SANDF is, so that certain decisions, as of when they are taken, they are informed by the current dynamics of the defense capability. The accountability framework with other stakeholders in the border safeguarding strategy. The coordinating function on national security lies with the JCPS and ICPS cluster. In this particular case, the JCPS cluster. Because that is where the state departments that are, have got to do with national security meet. For now, I can only talk on the border safeguarding optimization plan, which is a specific chapter, and I've tried to give an indication in terms of what it involves. What it also recognizes is that there should be coordination measures, starting from situational awareness with other stakeholders in the borderline, your SAPS, Border Management Authority, SARS, Customs, and all of them. That means the whole picture around the borderline, including the ports of entry, so that at the end of the day, the SANDF will then to focus on the borderline where its mandate is. But its activities should complement other entities, and the converse is also true. Let me leave it at that, Honorable Chair. Can I take it back to the acting SecDef if I've missed another question?
Thank you. There is a question. I have acting CFO to speak on the 30 days payments and the breakdown for the repatriation and backloading of equipment from the DRC that was meant for Optiga.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Portfolio Committee on Defense. Chair, just to augment what the response that was given by
Acting CFO.
Thank you, Chair.
CFO.
Chair, am I audible?
Yes, I've not granted you the permission to address my meeting. It's your arrangement with the acting SecDef that I do speak. The SecDef, can you make a request to the committee for the acting CFO to speak?
Thank you, Chair. I made it at the beginning when I started responding, but I am, through you, Chair, requesting the acting CFO to speak.
Permission granted. It's not like in the National Defence Force. In the Portfolio Committee, we are more disciplined than even the National Defence Force. So that protocol must be observed. Thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Portfolio Committee. Chair, there was a question for Honorable Hutton with regard to the breakdown of the 3 billion rand that National Treasury has given to the Department of Defense in the 2025-2026 allocation letter. This 3 billion is with regard to the repatriation or the backloading of our members back from SAMI DRC, and also should there be any assessed contribution to SADC, which is the obligation that the department has on behalf of the government, of approximately 487 million that we need to pay. So out of the 3 billion, 487 may go to SADC as an assessed contribution. 2.5 billion relates to bringing back our troops from the DRC and any repairs and maintenance to any prime mission equipment that we may have taken across to the DRC. Then there was a question from Honorable Rankwana with regard to the 30-day payment and why we're struggling to pay suppliers within 30 days. Chair, we have challenges with regard to our systems that are not integrated. And I think we've reported to the committee before in the past that we have systems that are more than 40 years old. The finance system and the procurement system are not integrated. So we set our targets as a department to pay 75% of our suppliers within 30 days. We have tried to achieve over the last 3 months approximately 86%, where we are. Obviously, the aim is to strive to be 100%, but we're getting better on a daily basis because the bulk of the challenges dealt with the systems, the non-integration of the systems. But we are improving on a monthly basis to try and ensure that our suppliers are being paid on time. As the Honorable Member has raised, it has an impact on the small businesses that supply goods and services to the departments, but we are improving on a continuous basis. We are also engaging with Treasury in terms of how to assist us to get an integrated system like all other government entities. So we'll be able to ensure that our suppliers do not have challenges in terms of how they run businesses and how they supply to the organization. The final question also dealt with our engagements with National Treasury with regard to the exit mechanism and the funding of the compensation of employees. The committee, we appeared before the committee earlier on in the year, where we're sent back to go and engage with National Treasury to come up with one presentation and one voice on how National Treasury was going to assist us in, number one, lifting the ceiling and also helping the organization to rejuvenate. We actually have an engagement tomorrow. No, sorry, my apologies, on Friday with National Treasury in preparation for our appearance before the committee, the joint presentation in readiness to present to the committee in August. So there have been engagements around this. As we did indicate earlier on, we're hoping, as promised earlier on by National Treasury, to give us money to, number one, actually fund the actual feet on the ground, and also to assist us with the rejuvenation. SECDEF has indicated that we have been invited, obviously, to participate in the exit of our members with the 11 billion that National Treasury has set aside, as mentioned by the Minister of Finance in his budget speech votes, over the next 2 years. So part of this engagement that we have with National Treasury on Friday, the 20th, is to iron out some of these challenges and issues and see how best we'll be able to manage the rejuvenation of the Defense Force and to try and curb the over expenditure on our compensation of employees with regard to the actual fees that we have on the ground. Chair, I think those are the questions that are related to the finance related questions with regard to our APP presentation that we've made to you. Chair, permission to step down?
Permission is granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
I'm not sure whether we have covered all the angles, but I'm sure this one will have to come from the political leadership of the department. As the portfolio committee, we are approving now the second budget since we came in last year, 10 July. We will be dealing with the next second strategy. Last year, when we came in July, there was a big issue about the defense review strategy 2025-2050, which we were promised that by 31st of October last year we'll get it. 31st of October, we had excuses that the defense review, as well as the journey to greatness, is with the president. Until today, there's no progress, there's no document that we're gaining. We are just approving in vague, without a proper blueprint of where we want to take the National Defence Force to. And we are lawmakers. I know the defense and the senior top brass of the defense force, they like pride in themselves that we are civilians. Now, we can put it back to them to say, we are lawmakers. We can't act in the Holy Spirit. We don't have that capability. We need a proper defense review plan, a proper explanation of the journey to greatness, even if it's not in this meeting. We can be called on behind walls to be workshopped on those two documents, because we need to know. We don't want the tragedy of ESCO, where you were told that load shedding is coming, build more power station, upgrade your transmission and your generation, and we ended up losing over R500 billion in our economy, with 3.5 million South Africans subjected to unemployment. You can imagine if there's going to be a security lapse or a lapse of our national security as a result of an underfunded national defense force in our country. It's hijacked and taken by the criminal element or the rebel element or the insurrection or by terrorism. So can we maybe either from deputy ministers be told when are we as a portfolio committee going to get these documents, policy documents, so that we know we can align the budget to the national objectives of the Department of Defense. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you, committee members. To respond to your question, firstly, it is not the fault of the Department of Defense that the President and the State Security Council have not yet responded to what we tabled to them in October last year. So what I will do is to ask the Minister to make a follow-up on those forums, because it's her who deals directly with the presidency and also the Security Council. Upon response from her, then we will reply to yourselves in writing or when we are here again, but I will make sure that you get a full response as to when are we getting the answer from the President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable DM. I'm sure members of the committee, they are listening, because that has been our concern. And that since last year, October, we are still awaiting their response from the department. And now we are approving the second departmental budget since we took office as the portfolio committee. And also by the 10th of July this year, will be exactly 1 year old in office. And there are a lot of things that we have not moved on as the portfolio committee together with the department. But we do have a report as the portfolio committee that we are going to present to the department. That out of so many decisions and work specifications we have done with you, so many are on the red, so many are on the green, and so many are amber, so that you understand. And amongst it, I know is the defense review plan as well as the explanation of the journey to greatness, because we can't approve all the time without understanding the blueprint and the specific direction or purpose that we need to work on. And if that is within the defense review plan, we need to understand, because that's why we keep on saying that our defense force, its structure and design, is good for a second World War, but not for a third World War, because now there's artificial intelligence, there's coding, there's electronic warfare, use of drones and other technologies. I mean, even now, the story of how we want to manage borders, it's outdated. Today, this e-border management system, where you put up cables, even on the sea, harbor and everything management system. Like the reason why you can't pass today in the North Pacific is because Russia has put up cables in the whole sea. Why you can't pass in the South Pacific is that China has put up cables in the South Sea. You can't touch the South Sea before you report to China whether you'll be entering. If you touch it from the harbor and border management system, you just get to be shorted. It is the same in the North Pacific. That's why today the safest route in the world is to pass through the Cape, Simonstown, Dockyard, because we don't have those capabilities to get even strangers on vessels going through our seas. We don't have that capability, but it's a discussion for another day when we deal, like the general was requesting, on closed doors or closed sessions with some of these things, because I think it has reached a point where there's a portfolio committee now. We'll have to come straight to your meetings to raise our concerns, because it's like when we raise them in the portfolio committee, we are exposing the security status of the country. Now we want to get to a close meeting with you so that we eat each other and help each other for the sake of the nation, because now our explanations are like a broken records. I'm not sure, members, is there any follow-up, or can we move to the next item?
Chair, I do have a follow-up, and it is to refine, if I can proceed, Chair. You didn't say I can proceed. Can I proceed? I raise my hand.
Yes, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a follow-up, and it relates to the comments that have been made by Major General Olomisa, retired, about coming back to us on when the Journey to Greatness document will be available and the defense review documents, etc. Can we please ask General Olomisa to come back to us within 7 working days to give us a report on what the current status is of the availability of those documents? You see, Chair, Major General Kulu waxed forth lyrically about what is contained in these documents, specifically the Journey to Greatness. He spoke about that there is a particular chapter about cybersecurity, about the issues of border control, etc. We don't know. We haven't got it, so we are navigating in the dark. The only thing I can conclude at this stage is that we are not ready, because I cannot operate on faith. I cannot operate on the fact that Major General Kundu tells us we have a plan, and therefore I must accept that we have a plan. We, as members of this Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans, must see the plan. We must engage with the plan. And then we can decide whether there is indeed a blueprint to save us from the disaster that we are heading to. As I sit here today, Honourable Chair, I can tell you without these documents available to me, there is no ways that I can say that I will support the upcoming budget. I will certainly oppose the budget, and I will oppose it in the strongest possible terms, also in the debate in the National Assembly. Because at the end of the day, as you quite correctly said, we are responsible to this nation, we are responsible to the public. I cannot go and commit treason and approve a budget that will lead to a disaster for our nation. And I'm not going to behave in that manner. So the request is simple, Chair. Bring back to us a report within 7 days about what the status of these documents are. But I can tell you right now already, if we do not get those documents before we enter into the budget debate in the National Assembly, it is a foregone conclusion that the economic freedom fighters will reject the budget. We will not support it. If we get the documents, then we will look at it and then make up our minds whether we support it or not. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Niaus. We still have 3 weeks before we finalize our engagement on the budget. We still have DMV to come in. We still have our entities, AMSCO and DENEL to come in before we finally adopt the budget. What we can do now is to adopt in principle issues raised, and the department must take into considerations all the reservations that committee members have raised, so that it must also be on record in case of any tragedy, in case of any problem, because I don't want to look like a saboteur to my nation. When it was clear that I will be incapable to defend the country, and I said, yes, it's correct, when I was pretending. I don't want to pretend. Here we're dealing with national security. National security is different from public enterprise of ESCOM. With ESCOM, you can still explain and survive. But with national security, it's called treason or sabotage. You can be arrested, or even if we are a self-respecting nation, face a firing squad or even fail the nation. That's how serious our responsibility is in this portfolio committee and in this department. In our case, there's no explanation. Something must happen. Either face the firing squad, either get into a treason trial, or a saboteur, or terrorism, or being a double-faced foreign intelligence agent who sabotage the nations. That's how dangerous our responsibility is in this portfolio committee. That's why when we ask for things, we don't want to look like balukas. We mean it. When we say defense review, it can be a defense force that takes over 10 months to give a report back to the portfolio committee on just the journey to greatness and the defense review plan. It takes 10 years. I mean, we are compromising our national security because we are dealing with it without a proper adopted plan, even by the portfolio committee, which is supposed to approve the budget that the minister is going to present, including the payment of all our equipment, including cost of employees, goods and services, and capital projects. So your delay, it's failing us as a portfolio committee, and I think we must raise it. But it also boils back to the discord between the Treasury's understanding of what is national security, including other departments which would want to compete with us when we lack basic capital equipments. I mean, our budget now is 1.4% allocation. When the global trend is 30%, and now they've increased it to 5%. It may even be 40 or 45% of the budget as we're talking in other nations, including our neighbors in Botswana, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Swaziland. Their defense budget, we can compare it so that we don't compare with European. We can compare with the continent, including the DRC. They've doubled their digits in terms of allocations of the defense force against the GDP. So I would request that session, General Bantu Olumisa, retired Major General, and acting SecDef and the minister, that we get into a boss barat between the portfolio committee and yourselves, the ministry, the military command council, the portfolio committee, so that we deal with the state of security of the country, because I think leaving it to you alone is overburdening you, but at the same time, it makes as if the portfolio committee is attacking you, when actually we're not attacking you, we're acting on our oath. I've taken an oath of parliament to defend the Republic and its people. And anybody who's intransigent to that mandate of the oath, as a soldier, I'll have to fight back to defend my Republic. And in our case, it becomes internal sabotage if we fail on basic things when we knew that we are making the country vulnerable. But it's a discussion for another day. We'll then move to our next item, Secretariat.
Sorry, Chairperson.
Okay, all right.
There are two proposals you are coming up with.
Yes.
The first one is raised by the Honorable Kalni House, that he wants 7 days on this issue. He's giving us 7 days to respond on these reports. We will try our level best to contact the presidency and also the ministry, our minister's office. However, more attracted in your last proposal, that maybe we need to go to converge under one roof and close the door and tell each other's where we are without fear that one would be compromising the security of the country. In that meeting, we know that no one gets inside there with telephones or whatever. And then we say, this is the real situation. As lawmakers, if you don't move, this is what we predict would happen if, for instance, you have disasters like we observed 2 weeks ago. And also that in the event that there would be a civil disobedience in this country, this is the catastrophe which is facing us. And also come up with some suggestions in other countries. You have what you call a war cabinet. That means a president, Minister of Defense, Minister of Finance, and the commander of the defense and state security intelligence. These are the people who take decisions to say, in this catastrophe, within 24 hours, this is how we should work. And the National Treasury is also in part of that meeting because some of these things come as urgent matters. It's high time that we try and professionalize the way we do work in security environment. But for Honorable Kalni House, I can promise you within 7 days, there will be a response in writing telling us what is going on that information you are in need of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable DM. I'm sure we will get an indication from yourself as the executive in terms of when can we have that boss barat between ourselves, the portfolio committee, yourselves, and where possible, the military command council, because we just need to do it for the sake of the national security, because now we're explaining, but we become a broken record where we can't give answers, and the whole world is preparing for war except ourselves here, and I'm not sure what is our trust based on if we don't have the necessary prime mission equipment to respond in case of any attack or any civil disobedience or any insurrection or terrorist attack. But I'm happy with the way forward that we'll get to understand where is the blueprint, and immediately after that, after receiving the blueprint, we can then go into a quiet meeting where we discuss the state of our national security beyond political affiliation, beyond our egos or our insecurities or infidelities. Can we move to the next item, please? Honorable Khoikhane, is it a legacy end or a...
I want my hands. It's up, Honorable Chair. I wanted just to add on what you have just said. I think now you were talking about the boss Barrett. I think now it's time, Honorable Chair, for the committee to call the president of this country. Really, we cannot afford to watch as a committee seeing the South African National Defence Force deteriorating, in such a manner under his watch. He must come and account. He must come and tell us what is happening exactly. Why the country is destroyed in such a manner. He must come and account. We are busy really diving. We are not telling things straight. The president of this country must come and account and tell us what is his mission actually about this country.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
it's very
All
in
right.
this country. The defense is deteriorating because of him. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. I see there's a hand from DOD.
No, thank you, Chair. No, we were saying we will wait for the Chair to dismiss us when it's done. Thank you.
Okay. By the way, we're going to deal now with minutes. It's okay. You let me take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Deputy Ministers Olumisa and Nkungo, the acting SecDef, the generals, led by General Kondu and all members in uniform. Thank also the staff members from the executive. We will remain behind with the support staff of the portfolio committee as well as the liaison officers from the minister's offices so that they follow up on items that needs their attention. I see there's an end of Honorable Niels, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank Major General Olumisa for the commitment for that 7-day response. And I also want to appreciate that it may very well be necessary for us to have a confidential meeting where we discuss these documents. From the side of us as the Economic Freedom Fighters, Chair, we really want to contribute positively to see the South African National Defence Force succeed. It pains us to see what happened in the DRC. It pains us to see that we cannot provide support to our people in situations such as the tragedy that played out in the Eastern Cape. So
sorry,
we
Chair. You were thanking the department. Please be in order, Chairperson. Don't allow someone else to
All
do
right.
closing
thanking General Olumisa for the positive
Tal is on the floor.
and the chief whip is behaving improperly in the way she's responding.
Can we allow him
I'm
to
simply thanking the General Olumisa for his response and expressing the positive attitude of the Economic Freedom Fighters to proceed forward. I don't know why the chief whip is getting himself exercised about that.
We don't need that fight. We've got members and staff members. Thank you, honorable members. We now want to release everybody. Like I did, I've already thanked everybody. Chief Whip, I would request that maybe you engage on one-on-one with us as members of the committee to raise whatever reservations you have on some of the issues so that we don't fight in front of our staff members and our subordinates. Thank you very much. You are released. Nandipa, I'll give over to you to help us with the minutes and the secretariat. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. These are the minutes of the 28th of May, where we received the briefing by the DOD on informal settlements and crouching on SANDF bases and an engagement. Oh, this one was deferred, the engagement with the Human Settlements Department. So this is the attendance register. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. And page 4 is the last page. Thank you, Chair. Over to you.
Thank you. These are the minutes we deferred last week when we were rushing for the budget. I'm not sure as to whether it's the matters arising from the minutes before we adopt and fully second the minutes. Any matters from any member?
Chairperson.
Honorable Adeng, over to you.
Yeah, I think we should first adopt, and I would propose that we adopt, and then I've got, no, perhaps before we go there, the first recommendation, it's quite an extensive recommendation, but or resolution, but where does it go to? It's something that we have resolved on, but if there are no deadlines, if it's not, if we don't get a report on the formation of such a working group, then it will just remain in our minutes. So I don't think what we have there is adequate. Somebody should take control of this process. It's a very serious concern of us. But then we need feedback, say within a month or 3 months or whatever. Was this in fact done or not? The second point, I would just like to know, but this is actually out of matters arising, whether there was then within 7 days a report detailing the total value of equipment and parts stolen. So, two things. I think that we should amend the first resolution, but I don't know who's going to implement it. But what should be there is that the report back should be. There should be a report back to this committee now. To say within a month is too late now. Say within 2 months about what happened to that resolution, and then the second one is just the question. I so move, Chair, the amendment of the first resolution within 60 days, and then the second one is a follow-up on after we've adopted.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Ateng, for the progressive move. The Honorable Ateng, based on the amendments he has put forward, he moved for the adoption of the minutes.
I support the proposal to move on the agenda, sir. Chair, I second it with the amendments as proposed by the Honorable Hart.
Correct. The second point in the amendment that he has put is the time frame of 60 days, but we also need the lead department who's going to lead us in ensuring that we convene this multi-departmental meeting.
Chairperson.
Honorable?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I should think DOD must lead because remember this meeting was initiated by ourselves as a committee. So
Okay.
the DOD must lead and they are accountable to us. We can then hold them accountable. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Nandipa, just noted that we prepare a letter to DOD and CC all these departments that are mentioned here for them to convene in that meeting to deal with this particular matter and report back to us in 60 days. Thank you.
Okay, Chair. We have sent letters already to all the departments, and in the letter, I think it was stated that the DOD should lead, and we will call them when they're in the next coming terms on to receive progress on this task team. So it is in the letter that we sent to them, Chair.
No problem. Okay.
Sorry. Well, can we then just include that in the minutes so that it is on record, not only verbally, please?
Okay. Nandipa, I think the point as you raised it, can it form parts of the amendments?
Okay, I will amend.
Yeah, just add it as an amendment so that we update the portfolio committee from time to time on the progress of the letter we've written. Thank you. We can move to the next set of minutes.
These are minutes of the 4th of June, where the committee went to the Arms Court dockyard in Simonstown. This is the attendance register. This is page 2. And page 4. Page 3, sorry. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, members. Those are the minutes. Any correction before we adopt?
Chair.
All right. Over to you.
I think Honorable Nias moved before me, after him then.
Okay, Chair, I think we are finessing the situation. I believe that the minutes should reflect not simply that the South African Navy did not present to us in accordance with what the agenda stated, but that the South African Navy, as we were informed, were instructed by the Minister not to present to the committee. It needs to be truthful, Chair, and I request that it be stated as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nias, but
Chair.
that came verbal. I'm not sure, can we include it here? Because I'm not sure whether it was the directive of the Minister. All right.
Chairperson. Sorry, Chair, I need to clarify. The Navy, we were told that the Navy said that they were instructed not to do so through the Deputy Minister Olomisa. So it was reported in the meeting that they were instructed not to represent that report to us in that meeting. And it needs to be reflected, please.
Okay. Honorable, yes, over to you.
You read paragraph 4 of the minutes. It covers what Honorable Nias is raising. It says the briefing by the South African Navy could not take place as the presentation had not yet been approved by the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans.
Okay.
Chair, okay.
Yes.
Is there in paragraph 4?
At the same time, it was an instruction from the Minister. So it should read, at the presentation had not been approved by the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, and therefore the Minister instructed the Navy not to present to the committee. Thank you.
No problem, it's okay. It's within a right as the head of the executive to do that, but it's okay, we can note it in our minutes.
Chairperson?
Yes.
This is actually a very important point, and it should be minuted correctly, because what happened here is that the Minister, over which we have oversight, and her department, actually dictated what will happen on that day and what not, which is actually something for the ethics committee. So, but I think the message is out there. It should just be, and I support the changes, that we know exactly what happened. So if it happens again, then I think we've got a solid foundation to proceed to the ethics committee, because we cannot have a situation where the Minister will dictate what this committee does and what it doesn't do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The point is,
Chair, that's why it's important that the minutes read exactly in the way that we proposed and that the Minister instructed accordingly, because the Honourable Hatton is correct in his understanding of what happened there, and it needs to be reflected in the minutes properly.
thank you, Honorable Nias. I would request that we raise our hands, because I see the other members who have raised their hands and they may be uncomfortable with the dialogue. All right. Over to you, Honorable Mutambi.
Chairperson, I don't think this is the way we should deal with this matter, as you have summed up. It's within their own rights We took a decision in that meeting to say nothing goes to us without the approval of the minister. So when people are then becoming disingenuous and talk to matters of ethics committee as if she did something wrong, because she's accountable to Parliament. And that's what she said. That's why I was saying, Chair, the way these minutes are captured, they are correct, and this is a true reflection of what happened there. But now, if people then say it's a matter that the minister must go to the ethics committee, she instructed, because definitely you can't send documents that are not signed off by the minister to Parliament, because the accountability lies with her. So, but if people now are saying it's a matter of the ethics committee as if she did something wrong, I really don't get it, and it can't be us taking that decision. And I will reserve our right to agree to that matter in that nature. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Whip.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I concur with Honorable Mutambi, because it's our decision upon hearing that the minister, the document, the minister didn't take it to cabinet and hasn't seen it. So we're not going to discuss something that has not been seen by the minister. Then it was our decision also to say that we adjourn our meeting so that the document is processed well and be presented to us, because we want to interact with an authentic document or presentation. So we cannot say that we're taking the minister to the ethics committee. Now I'm disagreeing with that because it is ourselves who adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. I don't think we need to argue this matter. Just as an addition to the points as raised by all of you, including concerns, it was agreed that in the first meeting of the first quarter or the next quarter, they need to come back, the Navy and the Arms Corps, on this particular matter. So I think at that stage, we can engage the minister with request her to be present, because the challenge is that our meetings are on a Wednesday, cabinet meetings are on a Wednesday. I think if possible, we'll have to talk to programming committee of the speaker and the national, the chair of chairs, to look at what we do in such a case, whether cabinet must not sit later in the day, or whether can we get another day as the portfolio committee, but it's going to overstretch members from other parties who have other portfolio committees on other days. But it's a matter that I think they will have to look at as a programming committee to assist us, so that we don't miss each other and miss the minister, and a minister is giving directives and we can't engage her and her directives because she's not present in our meeting. I think it's a matter that we have to take it up. But this matter is still going to come back to the committee according to that decision at the dockyard by the committee, that we adjourn the meeting and we are rejecting that report, and a proper report needs to be presented, which is fully known by the minister. So, and we agreed on the first meeting of the next quarter. It was presented as an advice, even by our content advisor, Dr. Van Rensburg. So I hope we are together. We can take it up even in the next meeting. But the matters raised, it would still be early to take it further, but to note it, I think it's enough. Because we're still going to get the next bite with them, Arms Corps, the Navy, and the minister in our next meeting. I thank you. Nandipa?
No, Chair, we still need a move in the second half of the minutes, Chair.
Okay. Can we move with the slight noting of those points as raised and second, so that we also make the... Yes?
Sorry, Chair, I'm not clear, Chair, whether should I leave the minutes as is or should I add? And what should I add, Chairperson?
Yeah, no, I mean, the point is raised by Honorable Mutambi of paragraph 4. It's correct. And you can also add to that point where it said it was reported by the Deputy Minister of Defense that the instruction was from the Minister to the Navy not to present the report that the NSNet went through. Because that was the reason for the report not to be presented. So I think it will only be fair to note it in our minutes. Then when we closed, we agreed that this particular report will have to come back in the next quarter. So at that point, I think we'll engage the Minister of the reasons. Can we get a mover and a seconder with those amendments?
Chair, with that amendment, I move.
Hello?
Yes, Chair, I was saying with that amendment that you've just extrapolated on, I move that we adopt the minutes.
Thank you. Can we get a
Can I
seconder?
second?
Okay, meeting seconded. Is there any other set of minutes?
No, I wanted to second, Chairperson.
Okay.
But Chairperson, I want to raise this. There are people who are at liberty to talk whenever they talk or they want, not raising their hands. Because I'm waiting here to be recognized by you, Chairperson. I'm seconding the minutes. But other people, they've got a huge freedom of talking whenever they want to talk.
Okay, thank you, Whip. Whip, I would request that in your own time, you engage such members for the sake of the progress of the portfolio committee, so that we don't fight in front of the staff as honorable members, because we are served at the behest of the Constitution of the Republic and our people. This is the highest honor that can be given to any citizen to serve the nation. So I'm sure from your side as the whip, please engage members if they misbehave in the portfolio committee. Nandipa, are we ready with the next set?
Yes, I'm here, but I see the hand of Mr. Plachis.
Okay. Honorable Plachis?
Chair, I think maybe on the issue of staff being here and so forth, I don't think your referral to the chief whip to deal with us one by one and outside of the meeting on a separate time is right. Because if we are rowdy and not behaving in the meeting, where will that behavior be stopped? Because this is a meeting of a portfolio committee. So the chief whip is also a member of this committee. When people are rowdy and out of order, you must then call them into order. Because this is a problem that we've been having and seeing in this committee all the time. And some of us were disciplined, we stick to the discipline and the decorum of the meeting, some others don't. And it cannot be the responsibility of the chief whip, that one. I just wanted to raise it, Chair.
No problem, the point is noted. So I don't mind, I'm very shrewd. I can chair this meeting through an iron fist. I don't mind, I can even expel any member from the meeting. Powers and privileges in terms of rule of parliament allows. But I don't want to be abusive. That's why I also don't want to be abused. I want it in the consciousness of members to understand that we have limitation, we must give each other space. And that's why I don't want to raise it in the meeting. I agree with you that I can raise it, but I thought that Chief Whip as our leader in the portfolio committee can on the sidelines have one-on-one with us so that we can tone down on other behaviors. But to raise them in a meeting in front of staff, I'm very much sensitive. I would not want to embarrass or want to outsmart any member in front of staff members. These are our subordinates. We also have to respect them. And I would indulge and plea and implore on all of us to engage the chief whip separately or the chief whip to engage us so that we just also help the chief whip to build the decorum of the meeting, because I'm chairing, but I know by and large the decorum and the purpose of the portfolio committee is in the hands of the chief whip as our leader to give direction. I'm also a member as much as the whip. I'm also responsible to chair the meeting and its proceedings. But so far, we are dealing with consenting adults who are honorable members who have taken an oath to serve the Republic. And I'm sure it's not supposed to be difficult for us to be engaged in the issue of common purpose and common interest for the nation, so that we don't fight over petty issues, but deal with matters of national security as it is espoused by any nation in the world. I mean, you can see what nations are doing as a result of the latest trends of global geopolitics and defense matters throughout the world. It's only us here where you find jostle and tit for tat arrangement, but forgetting that there's over 62 million people that we have to ensure they sleep and walk and live and work and develop properly. So that's the burden, what we have in our shoulders. So I'm going to beg and indulge and implore members just to follow the meeting procedure. Over to you, Nandipa.
Thank you, Chair. These are minutes of the 11th of June, which was last week, where it was a joint meeting with the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. And that was the agenda, which was the briefing by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on SANDF building maintenance projects, as well as a briefing by SANDF on devolution of building maintenance to DOD. This was the attendance register. This is page 3. Page 4. And page 5. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Nandipa. Members, can we adopt and raise matters from the minutes? Can we get move and second for adoption? Members?
Yeah, I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Honorable Plugis moves. Can you get a seconder?
Will do so, Chair.
Honorable Hatting has done so. Can we get matters arising? Earlier on, we discussed this particular matter of 6 departments that we have to write to. I'm not sure. In the resolutions, is there any other thing that members wanted to raise?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, you can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, can the letter be issued to someone, or the president of this country, to come and account about the deterioration of the Defense Force? And please let it be on records. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other take from any member? Because the point we're dealing with the minutes. So I would want us to, if we speak on the matter related to the minutes. That particular matter of the president accounting, I think we will raise it with the minister as the member of the executive representing the president in the portfolio committee. So can we just focus on the minutes, maybe deal with this matter as a matter for the future consideration? Can we finalize the minutes and come back to the point that's raised by Honorable Khotan?
Ms. Mutambi has her hand up, Chair.
Okay. So it means the minutes are adopted.
I was not in the meeting, Chair, through you. I thought
Oh,
we
you're
were
still
okay.
yeah.
I wanted to comment on the issue of the calling the president to a committee meeting.
Chair, I propose, and I think Honorable Hatton second.
But it's okay. I think you've summed it okay. It's fine. We'll
Yes.
discuss it on another day. There's a proposal on the table. Maybe you'll put it there.
Yeah,
okay.
no, that's why I wanted us to separate it from the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's of very sensitive nature. So that's why I wanted us to have it on another day so that when we adopt it, probably we even have advice from the Parliament legislative, legal services. Because summoning a president, it's a precedence. So we have to engage it. And that's why I was earlier asking DOD that can we have a sitting or a boss barat between ourselves, portfolio committee and the executive, where even the president and the military command council will be present so that we discuss the state
Not
of this.
audible, Chair.
Hello? Okay, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Chair.
All right, thank you. So I think the matter will be set down for another day. It's noted, please note it that matter is agreed and seconded by Honorable Mutambi. Any other set of minutes?
No, that's all, Chair. There were only 3 sets, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Nandipa, can we talk, me and you, after the meeting on assignments we need to do on behalf of the portfolio committee from today's discussions, including on the way forward of other outstanding issues. But if we can prepare that draft resolutions, the red, the green, and the amber ones, for members of the portfolio committee to know before the 10th of July, when we will be 1 year old in office, to know what is the paper trail of the work we've done so far, what is outstanding, and what still needs to be done going forward. And that's why I was raising with the department the issue of a journey to greatness and defense review. We promised it on the 31st of October last year. It did not happen. The Navy and the dockyard, they promised us that the frigates and the vessels would be running by at least 31st of May this year, from last year, October also. We still have to get that report, but it's matters we have in our annual report of resolutions taken and outstanding. We'll forward them and share them with members so that if there are any ones we have forgotten, you can add according to your notes you have taken or agenda items we have discussed or minutes you have approved. So this, in a nutshell, is for the first time that we finish before 12:30. I must take this opportunity to thank all of the members, the staff, support staff, and all of us in the meeting for your cooperation, your understanding. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much and have a wonderful week. Bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
All right. Don't forget our people in Eastern Cape. Can you donate clothes and other things?
Chair, didn't you say that we'll deal with this matter separately?
No,
Separate?
we have agreed now that we will have it as an item. It was seconded by Mutambi.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, we'll have it as an item. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sesiqedile. Sesikuqedile okwanje.
Where were you?
Yeah, we done, Honorable Shalamba.
Where were you, Maliake? I was at your office.
Where were you?
Today. I was in your office, Shalembe. You were not there.
No, I was listening, to all your conversation. some of your conversation were like delaying, the focus of our meeting. Thank you.
You.
Oh, you
Hear
don't
that
want to
one.
do the meeting. Are you the principal, Shalembe?
He's the veteran.
Yeah? I will call
The
Platis
veteran.
for you.